bring with them their own set of parameters, challenges, and rewards. Most of these require a fair amount of financial investment and a lot of sweat equity. Since we cannot possibly cover all these businesses, we will focus our energy and time. I'm really sorry. On the home cooking business. I'm going to stop the slides now, and so I can actually see you all in person. Now, nobody knows your business or your capabilities as well as you yourself do. So while in all probability, everything that you hear today may not be applicable to you or your business, I am confident that you will leave today's session with a little more knowledge and a great deal of more confidence. Today, we will hear from 3 young entrepreneurs about their journey from their home kitchens. All 3 are different in every way: qualifications, cuisine, culinary skills, and in the business they have chosen to pursue. I have intentionally done this so that we can get a much larger perspective on the home cooking business. May I request everybody to please mute so that it doesn't cause any disturbance. Thank you. Pasangh Shroff is a graduate from the prestigious Le Cordon Bleu Culinary School in Ottawa, Canada. And he has a passion and curiosity for life, food, health, community, and humanity. This persevering passion for cooking and respect for ingredients led him along a path paved with extraordinary opportunities and global experiences in Switzerland, Canada, and the US. Though his real expertise lies in authentic French cuisine, he also specializes in Kashmiri cuisine after being trained under a Wazwan. With his techniques well practiced and his knives well sharpened, Pasangh runs a commercial kitchen in Mumbai under the name of the Culinary Wazwan. In addition, he is also a consultant chef and a private chef. Pasangh, thanks for agreeing to lend your expertise to our session, and welcome aboard. As a kid, Rhea Bharucha's favorite spot in the house was sitting up on the kitchen counter, gazing in awe and fascination as her mother whisked eggs, rolled out cookie dough, and iced a cake. It was there that she decided that she wanted to be a chef just like her mother. At the age of 28, Rhea is the owner and pastry chef of BakedbyRee, set up in December 2016. She undertakes orders for baked goods like cakes and desserts, but is more well known for brownies, which is her specialty, and that is something I will certainly vouch for. Rhea started working at her dream as soon as she was out of school, balancing studies and work. She worked at many places to learn from the best in the industry, traveled, and did a bunch of courses abroad in different bakery-related topics. Rhea says that BakedbyBree has grown to be quite successful, and she's hoping to make it even bigger by spreading her magic and treats. Her dream is to open a small cafe where everyone loves to drop by for a cup of coffee, a slice of cake, lots of laughter, and makes many, many memories. We are keeping our fingers crossed for you, Rhea. Welcome to the session, and thanks for sparing the time despite your very busy schedule. Ashima Major has many creative skills to her credit, and never has she let age get in the way of learning and executing new skills. She did her interior design course at the age of 39, started her decoupage business under the name of Simply Sheila at the age of 45, and then to roll with the pandemic times, set up a home kitchen at the age of 48. Ashima has shown us a perfect example of how to pivot with the changing times. When the interior designing and decoupage business slowed down due to the lockdowns, she didn't waste any time in coming up with another business she believed would work at a time like this. She is equally passionate about all three, started all businesses on a small scale, and learned a lot along the way. Today, she is happy at the way things have shaped up, and she looks forward to many more years of loving what she does. Ashima, thank you for joining us today and giving us an insight into what keeps you so motivated. Our moderator for the session is Dr. Sanaya Patell. Over the last year, Sanaya has become an integral part of the core committee over at the Bangalore chapter, lending her creative mind, artistic skills, and her fabulous personality to put together many of our events. Sanaya has a master's from Boston University in the US and a PhD from the University of Cambridge, UK. She has a background in life sciences and a diverse skill set in science outreach programs, creative branding, and content creation for science-based products in the biotech, FMCG, and wellness sectors across various industries. Currently, she forms part of the core team at Avesta Gen, a leading systems biology platform company. By now, you are definitely asking yourself what Dr. Sanaya is doing here on this program. Well, Sanaya has a great love for curating culture, food, and photography events. In fact, it has led her to one of her current projects, one which is close to her heart. It's an evocative and nostalgic journey of the Parsi Zoroastrians through food, customs, and culture, culminating in a book entitled The Borkhadi Table. Sanaya, love having you with us this evening. Thank you for adding this session to your never-ending list of to-do items, half of which are from the Bangalore chapter. Okay, the evening is all yours, Sanaya. Over to you.
Thank you, Zarine. Thank you so much for the fabulous intro. This vital, evocative, and a binder of nations, and the WZCC's initiative to encourage all entrepreneurs through this program is indeed beneficial. One's journey from taking an idea to a business is always one that inspires others to take the leap of faith as well. And today we get to learn more about Rhea, Ashima, and Pasangh's stories. I'll start with you, Rhea. What was it that prompted you to start a home-based food business? When did it turn from a dream into reality?
So, Sanaya, firstly, thank you so much, Zarine, for the amazing introduction. And hi, everyone. So, I actually have always enjoyed baking, not so much cooking. I'm actually a terrible cook, really bad, cannot even make rice to begin with. But baking has something I've always been extremely passionate about. My mom has been a home caterer for years now, so I have grown up with my house smelling of butter and vanilla and cookie dough all the time. So I have kind of always enjoyed watching her work, and I've always wanted to kind of get into that and help her, either it's icing a cake or like rolling out pastry dough, anything. So I knew luckily for me, very early on that, okay, this is definitely what I want to do. So I just decided as soon as I finished school and as soon as I started college that I am going to turn this into a business. And that's what I did.
That's wonderful. Lovely memories to grow up with. I think we can all sympathize with that because we've all grown up with smells of odors coming from the kitchens. Pasangh, we'll move on to you. You're a professional chef trained in classical French techniques and also in traditional Wazwan cuisine. Tell us a bit about your professional journey and what you are doing today.
So I started training as a Wazwan. I trained under a Kashmiri chef. And for people who don't know the term Wazwan, it actually means Kashmiri head chef. And also it is a list of classical 36 dishes, that happens during a festival time in Kashmir. So after my training in formal Kashmiri cuisine, then I went to Switzerland. I was working there for about 3 years. And then I was like, no, that is not enough. That is when I decided, I wanted to specialize in French cuisine, as my mentor was Auguste Escoffier, and always heard about Le Cordon Bleu, you know, so much. It was only a dream, you know, at that point. But my parents were, you know, absolutely very, very, very supportive since the time I started off doing this. And when I was training after my course, after I finished my course, and I was training in this place called Jack's Kitchen, and they were so helpful, and you know, everyone was absolutely impressed. You know, they were like, we have to have your name on the menu. So one of the dishes was actually named after me. So few of like the dishes, whoever was
Oh, how
working there,
wonderful.
yeah, all the names were there on the menu as well. And then post that, I was working for the Hyatt Regency in the US, where I was handling their seafood specialty restaurant in Maryland. Then I came back here and I started working as a private chef, where I was doing these corporate events and, you know, doing these specialized parties. But then, of course, COVID hit, you know, and finally started with my home kitchen, the Culinary Wazwan, and that is my journey so far.
Very nice, Pasangh. What I love is that, you know, your backgrounds in French cuisine techniques and Wazwan cuisine, both cultures that appreciate food at a very different level from many other cuisines. Thank
Absolutely.
you. So
Thank you.
Ashima, we'll move on to you. You're a multi-talented craftsman, and a lot of us have seen your wonderful decoupage handicrafts. What prompted you to become a home chef, and when did you begin your business?
Hi, thank you, Zarine and Sanaya, for having us on board here today. So my journey is nothing very spectacular in the sense that, yes, it started as an idea which kind of took shape much later in life. But yes, the dream was always to have some sort of a food business. I really didn't know what exactly, but it so happened that my husband moved to Bombay, and he, along with his two friends, invested in a cloud kitchen. And you know, the setting up of that whole process, and you know, curating the menus and everything kind of got me involved. And my passion for one day owning a food business was kind of taking shape at that point, which I didn't realize. And it just so happened that COVID was around the corner. The world was buzzing with this whole thing. And this friend of mine and I, we were sitting at the dining table just having tea. And I told her that, you know, this is what I always dream about, like how Zarine mentioned in Rhea's introduction that, you know, she loves the idea of a cafe and some coffee and cake and all that. That was my dream too. And yeah, it just happened over a cup of tea. And I said, you know, I've been dying to do this for the longest time. And after seeing the Bombay kitchen, the legacy kitchen taking shape, this is something that I want to do. And the best way to start, of course, by then we had gone into the 21-day lockdown. But we, my friend and I, we spent our time, you know, trying out dishes, weighing them, serving, you know, the portion sizes, the costing. We did the whole background work that was required to initially start a home kitchen. So yeah, that was my beginning, and very low key, but it has been fun. Yes.
My, you know, artistry extends in all creative spheres. So, you know, from your interior design business to decoupage to cooking, they all complement each other.
Yes,
so what is interesting is that we have 3 foodpreneurs whose journeys, timelines, and styles are quite diverse, but equally successful for the ecosystem they operate in. It is clear that being a foodpreneur is not restricted to one path, but can come in all permutations and combinations. So Pasangh, we'll start again with you. You know, sometimes the magic of a name can imprint itself in one's memory faithfully, and the mere mention of which can activate the sensory system. Tell us how you came up with the name for your business. Walk us through your thought process when picking a name. Did it mean something to you, or did you go with it because?
Well, the name journey in itself has been, it's been a journey on its own. You know, it took me quite some time to get the exact name that I was actually looking for. I think we came up with 2 or 3 names that I had shortlisted. Culinary Nirvana was my mom's idea, French Wazwan, taste of everything, you know. We were like going up and down about this whole thing. And then I still wanted the word Wazwan, you know, in my business name. But the French Wazwan, it was just not cutting it for me. I was like, finally we zeroed down, to the Culinary Wazwan, where, just give that business name to it, get that Indian and, global impetus to it. And that's how I decided, that is it. This is how I want it to be, where, the culinary part is also there. Wazwan is also, of course, in there. So it's a pretty short story,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah,
like the name. I think
it's a very special moment for me. It was a very special moment for us, actually. Yeah.
Settle in people's minds. Rhea, quickly with you, what inspired you to choose your name for your business?
So actually, just like Pasangh, I went through a whole lot of different names and suggestions from friends, family. At the end of the day, I did wanted to have a little bit of a personal touch. So I did want something to do with the things that I'm making. So I did want my name to be in it as well. So BakedbyRee became a thing because I would always send off any boxes of any treats that I made for my friends or my family. I would write on the box saying baked with love. And it just sort of changed then to BakedbyRee because it just had that connection. And my tagline is call it magic. And that is because my signature brownies, which is I think one of my best sellers, and the reason why I am where I am today is my white magic brownie, which is a white chocolate brownie, and it's actually a very unique and different flavor that a lot of people don't usually go for. The minute you hear white chocolate brownie, a lot of people don't really like that. The majority of the people are pure dark chocolate lovers, but once they try this, they're like, okay, this is totally different. And I named it
Right.
white magic because when I made it the first time, I asked my friends, so tell me like what you're tasting, tell me what you're feeling, because I want to give it a different name. And they just said it's just magic. So this magic kind of stayed with me, and I wanted to incorporate that as well.
So white chocolate brownies do sound delicious. I hope you courier to back.
I will
So,
soon.
Rhea, so, over the years, we've seen a huge growth in the baking sector, home bakers, bakeries, cafes, etc. And it's quite vital to create a niche for yourself. How did you go about doing this? And did you do any kind of market research to understand your target market? Can you walk us through what your process was?
Sure. So I'll be very honest, I did not do a lot of market research in the beginning. I solely depended on word of mouth. And only it was during the pandemic that I realized that social media marketing is really crucial in this day and age. So a lot of my marketing now, majority of my marketing to bring in new clients is dependent on social media marketing. And there are a lot of home bakers and, like you're saying, restaurants, cafes, bakeries all around me. I think in my area itself there may be at least 100. And I just feel like to kind of stand out, quality is very important, and customer satisfaction. So for me, those are like my two main points that I will always kind of make sure that my product is really good, and I will go out of my way to kind of make sure that my customer is happy.
Thanks, Rhea. And extra touch. And also, you're right, social media has become the popular mode of getting to know who's making what. So Ashima, we'll move on to you. As a home chef with a business a little over a year old, how do you manage your menu in terms of planning your deliveries, your locations that you deliver to, the city where you live? I'm sure it's quite challenging, a challenging aspect of boutique businesses. Would you deliver all over India? How do you maintain quality with your packaging? Do give us an example if you have any, please.
So basically, yes, while mine is a home kitchen, I mainly stick with weekends. So that is Sunday lunches is what I normally cater, because and that is also for a whole load of reasons. One of the main key ones being my location, which is quite away from the city. So initially, when we started out with our kitchen, our clientele was people who lived close by. Of course, it was the word spread. It was all word of mouth. And so from that weekend kitchen thing, initially the deliveries were being done by us. I mean, my friend's husband, my son, they would jump into the car and go and deliver. Subsequently, I now have a driver who comes in on Sundays and takes delivers the food. So we work like in two sides of town. One is, towards the airport from where I am located, and one is towards the city from where I'm located. So towards the airport is taken care of by one person, the other side by another person. And I try to do the delivery in such a way that the client pays from not from the kitchen to his location, but from the last location of the driver to their place. So I'm able to contain the amount a client spends on just delivery, because from where I am based, the customer would be paying quite a bit of money just for getting the food delivered. So that is one point. And about packaging, I started out with the regular, the foil packaging, then those plastic boxes and everything. And during the course of our operations, I have switched over rather to the eco-friendly boxes, because I personally find them more appealing. And these days, the quality is also excellent. I mean, they are, your curries won't leak through, and, it's all cellulose lining and things like that. So it's very, very good. Yes, expensive, a bit on the more expensive side compared to your plastic and aluminum containers, but classy nonetheless. I mean, I personally feel your packaging, the way, not just your packaging, when you open your packet, when you open your box, the way your food looks inside is very, very crucial. I mean, and maybe I'm like that, because whenever I open a box of food, I like to see the presentation. I like to see how it's looking, So for me, that is very crucial. My packaging, I have my little stickers on top where I personally write the name of the dish along with the name of the client. So every box goes that way. The packet into which it goes, I have little notes with the client's name on it written. So these are like little personal touches, which are very important. And I think very small, but really important, because these are the things which actually take your business a long way. And the third thing you asked me was, what was that, Sanaya? I'm sorry, I missed that.
So, do you, for example, ship food all over India?
Yes.
And if you do, what are the things you take into?
So last year, I combined my two businesses, so to say, my decoupage and my kitchen business. And I came up with the decoupage glass jars, cookie jars, which I filled with besan laddus for Diwali. This was around Diwali time. And it was a huge success. I mean, I got orders from all across the country, and people could, the whole system worked in a way where you could call me, where the client would call me and give me the name and address of where they wanted it sent. And I was doing the couriering and everything. So for that particular thing, for that particular package, since it was glass, I would bubble wrap it and then, then cover it with a corrugated sheet, then put it in a box and then courier it. So, and I'm happy to state that, there was not one breakage of these over 100 jars that I delivered last year. So, yeah.
That's really great, Ashima. All the points you brought up, I think, very, very important, and tips that new home chefs need to know a little more about. And so quality, packaging, the extra touch, logistics. So for example, you don't have to, if you start your home chef business, you don't have to deliver every day, have a menu every day. You can carve out a niche that works for you, that works for the customer. So those are all good points, Ashima. Thank you. It is always illuminating to understand how one starts from scratch to set up a successful business. I'd like to go through all three of you and ask you questions about some of the joyful moments and the hurdles that you've had to cross while setting up your businesses. Rhea, oftentimes we find that there are many bakers that start off with a bang and slowly transition into an average category. How do you maintain your brand's quality and the customer's high expectations time and again? How do you manage to stay relevant and fresh in the customer's mind? Also, tell us a bit about one of the most significant hurdles you crossed on this journey.
Right. So, yes, it's very difficult actually to keep the customers interested in your product, because doing the same thing. I mean, everyone is making a chocolate cake or red velvet cake. So you want your customers coming back, right? For me, I feel in my field that creativity is the most important. So I completely agree with what Ashima said, is that packaging goes a very long way. And she's 100% right. You always eat with your eyes first. So the minute you open your box, you all should already be wowed by the product that's in that box. So for me, creativity goes a really long way. I always try to do something different, something that people, for example, during a pandemic, no one is going to order a 1 kilo cake because there are 3 people in the house. A 1 kilo cake is too much. So I wanted to give them something that they can still have for a celebration, but again, a smaller size. So I came up with something called my cake bars. So they are like my brownie bars, but they are smaller in size, and you get like a box of 8, you can get a box of 12, depending on how many people you have. And you can customize them according to what you like. So I usually do them for any festival. So I started them for Halloween. I did them for Christmas, Easter, Mother's Day, Father's Day. And that way, I found a lot of people were more drawn to that because it was something that they could so easily order. It was customized. It was something that they could use for any celebration. And again, the quantity, the price, all of that worked. So I feel like all those aspects are very important, like staying creative, um, staying within an affordable price range and not going over the top with your prices as well. Packaging, like Ashima said, all these things are extremely, extremely important. And as for the hurdles, personally for me, my strong suit is not in accounts and computers. So I actually, unfortunately, am not that up to date with like new account techniques, how to keep my accounts, my costings, my finances. All that is stuff that I need help in. So of course, my brother helps me out in that, but that is something that I've been working on, especially during this pandemic when I realized I do have more time on my hands. So I use that time in keeping myself updated with either doing some courses or workshops, whether it's in accounting or even just like some new cake decorating techniques that have come up. All these things I feel are just really important.
Right. So Rhea, you remain adaptable to change. You're creative, and of course, you have your brother helping you with accounts, which is something that one can't ignore if you want to be a profitable business. It's wonderful to bake, but at the end of the day, somebody has to do the numbers.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Pasangh, oh no, sorry, we'll go on to Ashima first. Ashima, boutique businesses do not come with large advertising might. I think we all would like to know how you maintain your customer base and what you do to keep them connected with your brand. Is there a significant milestone that you would like to share with us?
So, like Rhea mentioned earlier, given that we are home chefs and running home kitchens, the bandwidth really isn't much in terms of the funds or the help or the advertising. So the best way forward for me is again, like Rhea, the social media. And I have a Facebook page dedicated to PJ's Kitchen. I have an Instagram handle and all that. Apart from that, since mine is a weekly, a Sunday lunch menu, my menu is published around Monday or Tuesday, and people have to place their orders by Thursday or Friday. And so I initially started with, set meals. So there was like, there would be a mutton dish, there would be a dal, there would be a vegetable, some rotis, rice. So it used to be like a set meal for 2 people. And from there, going by, as time went by, I realized that people would prefer maybe dishes which they can pick up individually and not necessarily be landed up with, the dal they didn't want or something else that they wanted.
Right.
So curating the menu on a weekly basis was one thing, and is one thing. And secondly, there was a time where I think I did that for about 2-3 weeks, but not successively 2-3 weeks. Was I would create a poll, and I would say, so this Sunday, what's it going to be like? You want Mediterranean, you want Indian, or you want Parsi? And then I would keep updating the clients about, okay, Parsi is winning, okay, Indian is winning. And so splash, here's the menu. On Tuesday, that menu would be out. So people kind of enjoyed that. That was also like something different for them. And apart from that, yes, the best thing about all of this is, I would say, I know that my client is happy when I get a WhatsApp message which tells me in detail that such and such thing was so great and such dish was really nice, rather than just, oh, the food was great. So there are some of my clients who really take the pains in giving me details about how what they really liked, and which is a great those, I think those are my little milestones, along the way. Every week from somebody or the other will always take the pains to go into the details of what the food was and how they really loved it.
So personalized feedback works for both customers and the chef themselves. And social media really seems to be the way to go forward right now if you're a small niche brand and a home chef. So Pasangh,
really, I feel is, since we are small, there really is, like I was mentioning earlier, that there is a little headspace, there is a little time for us to go that extra mile, which I feel is very, very, very important. During the pandemic, even though the kitchen was closed because I was having a lot of delivery issues, and I was not able to deliver food, so I had mentioned that I'll be back, the minute this curfew is lifted. But every now and then I would message the customers, asking them how they were doing and if all of them are fine, and then I'll be back soon, sort of a thing. And they really appreciate it. I mean, I would appreciate it, I know. And I think a little bit of empathy, along with being a business person, if you exercise a little bit of empathy, I think that takes you a long way too.
I couldn't agree more. And I think also, like you mentioned, interactive advertising, where you have the customer interacting with you, for example, your poll. Maybe that's another way to engage customers beyond just flipping past an ad, for example. So Pasangh, the upheaval that the world has faced in the last year has seen a lot of new industries prosper, but has also been detrimental to others, such as restaurants. And as a trained chef, what is it that you had to adapt to in the last year to maintain your business? And is there a moment on your journey that might have been challenging for you that you were able to overcome?
Well, my major challenge, was sacrificing, the ease and convenience of, working in these huge, big, 5-star hotels. Everything is there for you. All the equipments are there. Then moving from that, that was actually a very big challenge for me. To whatever was absolutely, just available at home. But I want to say that I have successfully maneuvered it so far. And the conveniences offered, by the tools of the trade were not available to me. I want to say that. And that is actually where my cordon bleu training literally, took over, where, I had to adapt and do everything absolutely from scratch. And the most important thing was I was also facing was the challenges with the delivery, like because it was COVID, and how Ashima said, she started off with her husband, her friends helping her out with the delivery, and for me it was the same thing. But for me it was a personal thing that I didn't want my food to be touched by a lot of people on the way. I just wanted it from home to the client's place. So I used to do all the deliveries by myself. There were few people who helped me out, like going to the far suburbs. So, that was one major challenge that I overcame. And
Yeah, I can see that being a challenge. And it's wonderful that you put in all that personal effort to deliver the food yourself, And I hope that's something your customers are aware of and
And
appreciate.
they really did appreciate it. Yeah, of course. Yes.
And can I ask why, with all your formal training, you didn't want to continue, say, with the top restaurants or the 5 stars? What was it that made you suddenly decide to say, you know, enough of that, and I really want to start something on my own, even if it's a commercial kitchen, home chef business?
So because the final ultimate goal, you know, any chef, even a home chef, when they start cooking, you know, if you're really passionate about what you're actually doing and you're not just looking at it, you know, just like work, then the dream is always to open up your own restaurant. It's there with every chef. It's always going to be there, and you know, I'm no different. You know, it's the same thing. So the home chef, the commercial kitchen and the home chef thing came very, very naturally, as I was already doing private chefing events and corporate
Right.
events. And, you know, this was a way to, you know, reach out to like a lot of different kind of clientele for me, you know, cooking a lot of different things, see the kind of feedback, you know, that I can get from a lot of different people. So it is definitely a stepping stone to where I want to be, maybe 5 years down the line, not very soon. Looking at
So
the
a restaurant is the dream, although we
Oh,
know
definitely,
from
definitely. That's
watching.
always been the dream. Yeah. Just one
I
step
think
closer now.
I think the general public now understands the trial and tribulations of having a restaurant of your own, and it's not all just rosy with all the chef shows that we get to watch and the inside scenes. So having a restaurant comes, of course, I'm sure, with its deep satisfaction, but also a lot of hard work.
Yes, definitely.
So
Yes.
that is something you're willing to definitely undertake in the future.
Yes, that would be my dream. Yes.
And Ashima, what about you? Is a restaurant or a cloud kitchen something that you would like to pursue, or are you happy to continue as you have been?
As of now, I am very happy with where I am. And for me, with every business that I have started, from my interior to decoupage and now the home kitchen, my general rule of thumb is that I go really slow. So
Right.
I just take baby steps. And for me, that works really well. I'm very comfortable operating that way. And given the present scenario right now, I personally don't think it's wise for me to invest in a cloud kitchen or a commercial space right now, given that everything is changing as good as every single day. So maybe my expansion would probably be like, along with Sunday, I would probably introduce maybe another day of the week, or
Right.
maybe midweek, one more. But yeah, this is where I'm going to stay right now. I'm not planning to go commercial as of now.
I think that's great because you know, everyone doesn't have to have this exact same expansion plan, and one has to do what's relevant in their niche and their micro environments as well. So Rhea, would you see your baked goods sitting in a cafe or a bakery? And you know, would you think of becoming a household name as Theo Broma from Bombay has become all over India? How far would you like to take your dream?
So yeah, it has always been my dream, like Zarine said in the beginning, to have a little cafe. But the more and more I'm getting into this and growing as a business, I do realize, at least for me at this moment, it is not the smartest business decision. I can do a lot more where I am right now. And sadly, I don't think, I mean, it's a part of growing in a business, right? Where your dreams change and they adapt to the different times. So, of course, right now is a terrible time to be buying any property. But
Right.
also, I just feel that I would probably be burning through more money than I would be making. So, I'm very happy where I am right now, and I'm enjoying kind of growing and learning and expanding my business from where I am right now.
Nice. I hope to see you, you know, get to your dream soon, and hopefully this time will pass by, and
Yeah.
we can all resume life as we used to. Now, this question might seem a bit not necessarily relevant to all of your businesses now that we understand a bit more about you, but how do you compete with apps such as Swiggy, Zomato, and they're inundated with all sorts of food businesses? Are you listed on them, or have you consciously decided not to be on them? I'll start with Rhea.
So yes, earlier on before the pandemic, I was listed on Scootsie. Scootsie had a facility where people could place their order a day in advance, which is what I needed. I don't have things ready, of course, like on the spot to supply. So they had that pre-order facility, which was very important. And the beginning of the pandemic, Scootsie was going crazy. We were getting orders. Like I think we had to sort of shut down our app we had to shut down our shop on the app because we could not keep up with the orders. Then we sort of figured out we were getting more access to more ingredients and stuff. Initially, everyone didn't know what was happening, and we were not getting our regular ingredients so easily. So we were getting a bit, we were struggling a bit. Then once it became a bit smooth sailing, Scootsie did really well for us. Sadly, though, in between, they had decided to transition and partner up with Swiggy. And Swiggy
Right.
does not have a facility to have a 1 day pre-order. Their goal and their target is to do fast delivery. So they need something that is going to be able to be delivered latest in like 45 minutes. So,
Right.
so of course, like we could not do that, and then we were sort of floundering because a lot of people want things that are easily accessible. So including me, I can easily just pick up my phone and with a click of a few buttons order either a cake or a full dinner or whatever I need. So that's the kind of time that we're in where something like that, easy accessibility is very important. So what we decided to do is we created a website in a week, which was not the best website, but it was something that at least gave my current clients and my Scootsie clients the same thing that Scootsie was offering them. So they could just at the click of a button order their box of brownies, and
Right.
we then handle the delivery. We got our own private deliveries. So we had delivery boys coming in different shifts to take the orders at whatever timing was needed. And we basically adapted accordingly. So Swiggy and Zomato and all of these apps are definitely a huge competitor to people like me and home bakers. But I just feel like we need to sort of match them and make the process to ordering our products as easy as possible to our clients.
Right. So as convenient as they are to use, they cannot have the monopoly. And also, we'll move on to Pasangh really quickly for some thoughts on, are you on Swiggy and Zomato?
I am not on Swiggy and Zomato. No, not as yet. Since it's a home kitchen, I've not been on Swiggy and Zomato. And till now, it's not even been necessary because through friends and family, and it's just through word of mouth. If your food is good, the quality is it's up there, and clients are going to come to you to ask you, oh, when are you going to make this, when are you going to make that? So
Right.
I'll give you one example with my banana walnut cake. It is very, very popular. So the day I'm going to make it, maybe 2-3 days in advance, I let people know that I'm going to put it out on the menu. And then I get so many orders of those because I know that nobody else in Bombay is going to be able to replicate that quality,
Right.
just like that, because it's in the chef's hands. Even if I give that recipe tomorrow, maybe to Rhea or Ashima or even to my mom, they're not going to be able to replicate it just exactly like I do.
Of course,
Mhm.
everyone has their own magic touch.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go through 2 more questions. And in the interest of time, can I request you to keep the answers brief, please? So one is always curious when starting organically, how do you fund your business? Do you put in a lot of capital investment, your own or borrowed? Given the different nature of your various businesses, it would be informative for other entrepreneurs taking the plunge to understand what the norm is. So Pasangh, how did you fund your commercial kitchen?
So the first thing I want to say is I believe in spreading my feet according to my cloth, and that is one big reason so far that I have not taken up or gone through any external sources of finance like loans, etc. I've been funding my business personally, and the initial support by my parents, I want to say this has been a huge help. And yeah, so you don't have to really go anywhere when you're starting a small commercial home kitchen.
Right. And Rhea, just quickly, what about you?
So Sanaya, luckily for me, though, I did not have to put in a lot of capital because my mom has been doing this for years. So
Right.
I was actually very fortunate to sort of walk into a ready home kitchen, a setup, everything from my ingredients to the equipment, everything was accessible to me. So I did not really have to put in that much earlier on.
Wonderful. So how seriously do you take customer feedback? Do you act on it? Speaking as a customer myself, we oftentimes have unreal expectations and can be fickle too. But what I personally look for is quality, consistency, and a personal touch. What are the standards you think are important to maintain? I'll start with Ashima.
So for me, what I have started doing is initially I had some feedback from the clients, which was regarding the quantity of the food. And they would say, you say it's for two, but this was not quite enough for two. And, so I would, go to the lengths of explaining to them that these are industry norms and standards. We follow this much meat and that much that and all that. I would do that for them.
Right.
But now what I have, so I was getting tired of really answering the same thing again and again. So now what I have started doing is on my menu, I write, say for example, dal brackets 500 grams is for so much, is cost you this much. Now I leave it to the client to decide 500 grams is going to suffice between two of them or five of them or just one. That's their call. So I really had to put an end to that. So yes, customer feedback is important and I do act upon it. And the good ones, of course, remain the good ones. And yeah, there have been some people who were totally unhappy about it. And it's a package deal, I mean, you can't really end up pleasing each and every one. So
no, but that little piece of information just describing the quantities is one way to definitely put the information out there. So that's really helpful. Rhea, I know that you look into all your customers' feedback and you're very careful about the product you put out. So I'll leave you out of this. Quickly with Pasangh, if you'd like to say a word or two.
Regarding customer feedback, I agree with what Ashima said, but on the other hand, this is the only way one gets better in this business. And, I encourage bouquets and I encourage brick bats, both are most welcome. But, thanks to the Almighty, my approach to my business has paid dividends. And, standards in hygiene, punctuality, quality of ingredients and packaging, all that really, really goes a long way.
Lovely. So glad to hear that as a consumer myself. So last question for the night. What is the most important element in a food business that you think defines you and maintains longevity? And what is your personal piece of advice based on your individual journeys that you would give to anyone venturing into this area? Rhea, just one sentence. What is your advice to any new entrepreneurs?
So I would say initially it is very scary to start something like this. A lot of us get cold feet and say like, maybe we just shouldn't do this. It's too much of a headache. Yes, it is a huge headache, but I cannot tell you how worth it is. So I would just say, just dive into it and just go for it. You'll be fine.
Wonderful. So we've got a thumbs up from you. And what about you, Pasangh? Just quickly, what is your critical advice for any new foodpreneur?
Understanding customers' preferences, catering to them via smart menu planning, that is very, very important. And it's most important for me. My personal advice would be, just keep an open mind and overcome those challenges with a positive attitude. That's very, very important. After all problems come with a solution and, therefore they never last long. So. Yeah.
Right. So every problem has a solution and one mustn't get too bogged down and adapt.
Correct.
And Ashima, will end with you. What is your take-home message for any home chefs?
I think anyone who's planning to venture into this business, it's a great place to be. The one thing primarily to keep in mind is that your customer is really God. So honesty, empathy, and a little business sense is going to take you where you want to go. So just don't worry about it. Take the dive like Rhea says, and it'll all take care of itself. So long as you maintain these three things that I just said.
I think that's a succinct summary of what it should be. So we'll end here, and I'd like to thank all three of you. It's been wonderful getting to know you.
Thank you.
And we hope to see a lot more of you. And I'll hand it back to Zarine now. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanaya.
Thank you, Sanaya, Ashima, Pasangh, Rhea. That really covered so many angles of the home cooking business, considering that each of you handle a different facet and therefore your experiences are different and yet very much the same if you look at it. Yeah. So, okay, now since the title of today's session was, should one take the dive or not into the home cooking business? I need to find out by your thumbs what you would say to the audience. Up thumb or down thumb? Should we take the dive? Oh, Rhea's showing 2. Okay, actually, all of them 2. Okay, great. Coming from a food background and having owned a restaurant for many years, yes, its headache is, I think, very understated. It's lots and lots of hard work, but like I always say, the joy, something, we closed the restaurant 3 years ago. I'm still enjoying the, people calling and saying little remarks on Facebook, and they still really make my day. So certainly big thumbs up from me too. Okay, viewers, thanks. Our first session has now set the trend to proceed. Our next session, which is scheduled for July the 19th at 7:30, will cover 2 topics: legal formalities and licenses for the home business. I will do this for Bangalore. I am also trying to get somebody from Bombay, just in case the legalities are different for the 2 cities. So I think most people from here, I don't know anybody in Pune, but I will try to see if I can get hold of someone. These sessions, this will be in form of presentation and question answer. Before we close tonight's program, I'd like to encourage those who are not yet members of WZCC to take advantage of the membership. The networking and exposure to the many programs we have will certainly add value to your personal and your business life. Our webinars are open to all. You can register on our website, wzcc.org, under the header of mailers to receive our e-blasts that will keep you updated on all our programs. These are also available to non-members. You can access the website. So thank you everyone for your interest today, and I look forward to having you all back on the 19th of July. Stay safe. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Good night.
Sorry, Percy. You're on mute, Percy.
No, well done, Zarine. I think it was very impressive. All the 3 contestants, or if you call them that, they gave different ideas and different inputs, which was very interesting.
Thank you.
So let's hope all the other programs are equally good.
Yes, I hope so too. I hope so too.
And little more participation probably. So we will see how to go ahead with it.
Yes, yes. Thanks. Thank you, Percy.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.